So, unfortunately, Newcastle United don't win yet another trophy this season, and the years just roll on by as to when it's actually going to happen. However, there was some positives tonight at the Emirates, without a shadow of a doubt, so we'll try and focus on them more than the negatives. This is the Toon Review. Hi everyone, I'm Paul. Welcome back to another video. Just reviewing tonight's game at the Emirates between Arsenal and Newcastle United, and it finished 2-0 to Arsenal after extra time. First half was just drab. We didn't really create anything in that first half to threaten Leno's goal. Second half, however, we were so much better. But when we look at the team lineup, we went with Dubravka in goal. That was as expected. You know, Karl Darlow deserves a rest. Dubravka deserves a start. And he was outstanding again, undoubtedly. Right back, we went with Emil Kraft. In the centre of defence, we went with Lascelles and Kieran Clark. And at left back, we went with Paul Dummett. The only problem I have with that back four was Jamal Lascelles. You can't throw a guy straight in after he's took this amount of time to get over COVID. You know, surely he's got to play some under-23 games or behind closed doors games to try and build up his match fitness, because he looked lost from the start. He was all over the place. And every time the camera panned on him after he made a challenge or he was running, he was on his knees, he was on his haunches, he was just knackered. And I felt a bit sorry for him, to be honest, but this is typical of Steve Bruce, just throwing players back in. And we know he's had a lot of... he relies on Lascelles a lot, doesn't he? So that for me just said all you need to know about Steve Bruce's man management and his tactics and the way he thinks about things. Throwing him in there and he just looked lost. And I was pleased he came off at half time because he was struggling. In the middle, we went with Isaac Hayden as expected, and we also put in Sean Longstaff and Jeff Hendrick, who, hands up, I thought did a decent job tonight. You know, Hendrick, Longstaff and Hayden all worked hard. Hayden eventually had to go back into defence again, but that's just how versatile that guy is. He's immense when it comes to that. He's fantastic. Up front, we went with Joelinton, who I'll come on to later in the video, Almiron, and, of course, up front, we went with big Andy Carroll, who, again, I thought was outstanding tonight, but he should have scored. He should have scored. The first half was drab for me. There was nothing going on. We created absolutely nothing. Arsenal definitely had the better chances in the first half. A header maybe from, I think it was Aubameyang, but it was palmed down the post by Dubravka. Apart from that, we didn't threaten Leno at all in that first half. Arsenal pretty much controlled it. Second half, however, was a completely different story to the first. And we actually pressed. You know, we could see from the word go, as soon as that second half kicked off, we were on top. We went for it. And we caused Arsenal so many problems. You know, we got in and amongst the back four. We made them have to pass it quickly, which we know David Luiz certainly isn't good at. And we just threatened constantly, and it was a completely different Newcastle. I wasn't used to watching us do this, pressing and pressing and pressing, and really causing them a lot of trouble. You know, yes, Andy Carroll should have scored. He probably thought he was offside when the flag went up. But when you see the replay, he was miles onside. It was a lovely ball. Was it a ball or a shot by Kraft? I don't know. I think it was a shot, but he mishit it. It just curled that beautiful curve away from the goalkeeper. And Andy Carroll only had to stick it in the back of the net and he put it wide. It's very disappointing, and he'll be gutted because he knows had he put one of his two chances away, we would now be in the fourth round of the Cup. You know, as time went on in that second half, you thought, well, when are Arsenal going to improve here? You know, we expected Arsenal to come at us, especially being the home team, but they didn't. The longer the half went on, the more chances we got, and then in the last 5 minutes, that chance, I mean, it was well created as well. It was a lovely ball over for Murphy. He pulls it back. Anderson kind of mishit it. It hit the defender, rolled it Andy Carroll, and you just thought, wow, he's on his left foot. He's got the goal to aim for. This must be it for us, right at the death. But Leno made a good save. Let's not take it away from him. He stayed big, and that's it. If you look at Peter Schmeichel in the past staying big like that, that's exactly what Leno did, and got a big left hand out and made a good save. Should it have been a goal? Yes, he should have scored. Whether it be that he could have faked it, couldn't he? You know, when that ball came across and he could have gone to shoot, Leno had committed himself. Maybe he's just tapped it back onto his right foot and slide into the back of the net. He could have done something like that. But in that moment, you know, you're in the last few minutes of the game. It's an opportunity to win it. And I felt sorry for Andy because I thought he was outstanding tonight. I really did. I was a bit worried when, you know, the team sheet came out and Andy Carroll's up front on his own. But the guy was immense. He was back in defence. He was winning headers. He was making tackles. He was blocking. Come on, nobody can deny that he didn't have a decent game. But as a striker, and that's the big but, isn't it? As a striker, you've got to put those chances away. You really have to. But nevertheless, I thought he was outstanding. He really worked his arse off tonight, Andy Carroll. Dubravka again was just outstanding. Made some brilliant saves in the game. That second half save from, I think it was Xhaka on the volley. It was dipping in and he dives, tips it over the bar. Brilliant. And it's amazing to think that we probably have two of the best goalkeepers in England right now. And we never would have said that at the start of the season, quite honestly. Especially with Karl Darlow, because we didn't expect him to have the season that he's having, and he's been brilliant. But Dubravka is going to, you know, go back to being on the bench after a performance like that, and you could say that's harsh on him a little bit. But on the other hand, you cannot possibly leave Karl Darlow out the side. So it's a bit hit and miss for Dubravka at the minute. He'll know that he's not going to be involved on Tuesday, and he has to wait for his chance. Player-wise, I thought everybody put in a shift today, apart from Joelinton. Now, I'm sick of having arguments on Twitter about this guy. There are still people out there who think he's a decent player, all right? And they're quite entitled to their opinion. Of course they are. However, I cannot see what Joelinton brings to Newcastle United. It's like we're playing with 10 men. The chance in the first half, okay, he's got the ball and he's running towards goal. Now, Andy Carroll, he's not the fastest in the world, but he was ahead of Joelinton. An opportunity to slide him in. But his brain doesn't work quick enough. He's just not quick enough for the English game. You know, he dithered and the chance went. He could have slid Andy Carroll in. He could have had a dig at goal. Or he could have played it to the right to Almiron. But nothing came of it. And throughout the game, he was just non-existent on that left-hand side. Absolutely non-existent. And I don't care what anybody says. You can come on, put comments below if you think Joelinton is worth it or, you know, worth a crack in the team, because I cannot see it anymore. And even Alan Shearer said it at half-time. He doesn't know what Joelinton brings to the team. And quite frankly, I think 90% of the Newcastle fans feel the same way. And it's not about his price tag anymore. You know, yes, he cost 40 million quid, but it's not about his price tag. It's about his ability. He's not good enough to play for Newcastle. He's not good enough to be in the Premier League. And this isn't a personal dig at Joelinton. He's just simply not good enough. He's not quick enough. And what really knocks me about Joelinton is that he's such a big bloke, but he gets knocked off the ball so easily. You know, he just, the slightest little touch and he's knocked off the ball. He's a big lad, but doesn't use his size to his advantage. And people are saying, well, you know what? If Joelinton missed that chance that Andy Carroll did, he would be absolutely hammered for it. Yes, he would. But there's one difference between him and Andy Carroll. Joelinton wouldn't be in that position because he's not switched on enough to be in that position to actually think, oh, Emil Kraft might mishit it here, so there might be a chance on the edge of the box. Joelinton doesn't think like that. So he wouldn't have even been in that opportunity. And I just cannot see why this man gets in the team week in, week out. It pisses me off and it pisses a lot of people off. Because sometimes it's like we're playing with 10 men. There's no creativity comes from that left-hand side. And I was really disappointed when Matt Ritchie came on. His crossing tonight was diabolical. Absolutely shocking. One of the corners in the second half, we bring all our big men up, and we had a significant size advantage compared to the Arsenal defence tonight. And the corner, Jeff Hendrick tried to sort of do a fancy flick because it was on the ground by the time it reached him at the front post. Dreadful. And the free kicks, the corners, whether it be, Longstaff really needs to work on his free kicks as well. They weren't good enough. When we've got somebody like Andy Carroll up there and some tall defenders like Kieran Clark, we're not even getting them opportunities to win the ball. So that is frustrating as well. But this is what are they doing in the training ground? You have to ask yourself, what are they doing? But I was really disappointed with Matt Ritchie's deliveries. We got into some good opportunities in that second half to deliver some great balls, and we just didn't. Absolutely not. But, the game's gone, it's over. We've got now a massive, massive game on Tuesday night, which is why I was a bit ropey about it going to extra time. We do have players to step in who didn't play tonight. We don't know what the injury situation is. I have a feeling that Wilson and Shelvey weren't involved simply because Bruce has an eye on Tuesday night, which wouldn't be a bad thing for me. I think a lot of people expected Wilson not to play anyway. But the Dwight Gale situation I don't get. I think he should have been on a lot earlier than he was. Came on into the second half of extra time. I don't see the point of that at all, quite frankly. Now, whether he's on his way, there's reports that there's a deal with Fulham, so he could be on his way. So there's that to consider. But he's still a Newcastle United player right now, so why not use him? He could have come on earlier than he did, quite frankly, but maybe he's not for Andy Carroll. The opportunity was there to go two up top. Certainly when we were on top in the game in the second half. Why not? We've got nothing to lose. Let's try and score a goal. But Steve Bruce doesn't think like that. We know he doesn't think like that. But overall, I'm actually really I'm not upset. I'm not angry at the performance, quite honestly. I'm not really anything, if I'm honest. I just think, there was positives in that second half. The way we pressed. But we've done that a couple of times this season and we've thought, right, next game, why don't we go into it with the same attitude? And the next game, we've looked totally off it. And my worry is if we go into the Sheffield United game with a defensive mind, we will be struggling. But if we play like we did in the second half tonight, we will win the game. We will beat Sheffield United. I have no doubts about it. Because Wilson will be back. We have players who are capable of destroying Sheffield United. But, it's just ifs or buts. We don't know what Steve Bruce is going to do. If he goes 5 at the back, I'll be furious, quite honestly. But I'll come on to that in my Sheffield United preview, which should be tomorrow. Games are coming thick and fast, so the videos are coming thick and fast. But tonight, we can be disappointed. Certainly, I'm disappointed. I was gutted when Arsenal scored because I really genuinely believed, because of our performance in the second half, we probably deserved to go through. It wasn't the greatest football match in the world, not by any stretch of the imagination. But for us Newcastle fans to see us play a little bit better like that was a real positive. But if I come on to rating the players, Dubravka for me 9 out of 10. He was solid, wasn't he? He just gives you that belief that the opposition are going to have to work so hard to score against us when Dubravka's there, similar to what Darlow is at the minute. And like I said, we've got 2 of the best goalkeepers in England. I'm under no doubt about that. Emil Kraft at right back wasn't great. Teeny ripped him a new one in that first half constantly. Arsenal's left-hand side, they were just targeting Emil Kraft constantly, and Teeny just ripped past him at least 3 or 4 times in that first half, which was very, very disappointing, quite honestly. However, we look at Emil Kraft. He was thrown in. He's been in and out the side. But for me, 5 out of 10 for Emil Kraft. Jamal Lascelles, a 4 out of 10. It's not really his fault. I don't think he's anywhere near fully fit or match fit for that reason. I give him a 4. He just looked out of it. Kieran Clark, I feel really sorry for Kieran because he made that mistake in extra time, which led to Arsenal's first goal. Some of the comments I've seen on social media calling Clark worst names under the sun. Get a life, will you? Get an absolute life. How can you slag somebody off who's been one of the best players we've had this season? Don't embarrass yourself putting comments like that saying, oh, he doesn't deserve to wear this shirt or he shouldn't be in the team. My God, have you watched his performances this season? Just get a grip with yourselves, please. So, Kieran Clark, because he made the mistake, a 6 out of 10. But, you know, everybody makes a mistake now and again. And unfortunately, it was Kieran's turn tonight. Paul Dummett, I thought was solid, actually. I don't think Paul Dummett did a lot wrong tonight. I'll give him a 6. He wasn't outstanding, was he? There wasn't anything to be sort of, wow, he was, you know, do you remember him doing this or that? He was just the normal Paul Dummett, reliable, solid, didn't do anything wrong in the game. Into midfield, Isaac Hayden, again, because of his utility, the way he plays the game, the way he gets stuck in, I'm going to give Hayden a 9 tonight simply because he was brilliant in midfield and he had to go back and defend in the back four in the second half. So, you know what it is? He's just a magnificent player for me. And he should be first on the team sheet, as far as I'm concerned. Jeff Hendrick, I'm going to give Jeff a 7. I know that may shock a lot of people, given what my opinion of Jeff Hendrick earlier in the season, but I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he worked his bollocks off tonight, and he was involved in the game. You know, a lot of the times Jeff Hendrick has played for us this season, he's been in and out of the game or he hasn't existed. He really worked hard tonight, and I was quite happy with his performance. Sean Longstaff, again, you know, there's just still that element of going backwards with Sean Longstaff. You know, he gets the ball and he looks forward, but then he panics and he turns and gives it back to the defenders. We need to, surely Bruce needs to work on his game with that. You know, under Rafa, we know that he was a forward-thinking midfielder. He'd get the ball and he'd drive at the defence. That's what we need to see from Sean Longstaff in the future. Right-hand side, Miggy, he's a workhorse. He's just such a workhorse and he does a job for the team, but we need him going the right way. We don't need him back helping out the defence. Miggy needs to be up front performing because there's no doubt about it that Miggy has been bruised. We're not seeing the best of Miggy at all, and we haven't for quite some time. You can't say anything against his work rate because his work rate is fantastic, but he's just not clicking at the minute. And it's Steve Bruce because he keeps peppering him all over the pitch, giving him different positions. It's just impossible. He's not playing in his best position, and we all know that, apart from the manager. So Miggy, a 6 for him because of his work rate, really, not because he did anything outstanding in the game. Joelinton, I'm going to give a 3. I'm just fed up with the whole Joelinton situation now. Like I said, nothing personal against the guy. It's not his fault that he was brought in for a big fee. I'm not talking about his fee anymore. I'm talking about his ability. Sometimes his effort is badly lacking. He looks terribly lazy at times. And then at other times when he's running around with the ball, he just panics. He doesn't have a clue what to do with it. And the move breaks down, which it did a couple of times tonight. So I'm sorry. It's a 3 for Joelinton. Andy Carroll up front, I'm giving a 9. And if he'd scored, it would have been a 10. Because we've all been saying that Andy Carroll is finished. You know, we were saying, you know, this move to West Brom isn't going to happen. Or earlier in the season, you know, he's just not scoring goals or anything like that. But he didn't half prove himself tonight, I have to say. You know, and I've always said that I'll praise players, even if I've criticised them. If they've had a good game, I will praise them. And Andy Carroll tonight put a shift in. He was everywhere on that pitch. You know, when the defence needed help, he was heading corners away, crosses away. He was back defending. He was up front. He missed 2 glorious chances. And that's why I'm giving him a 9 and not a 10. Because by far and away, Andy Carroll was our best player tonight. And nobody can argue with that, apart from maybe Dubravka, who made some great saves. But Andy Carroll was just everywhere. And he was outstanding. So a 9 out of 10 for Andy Carroll. Excuse me. The substitutes, I'm not going to rate because, well, Matt Ritchie I might rate, but I can only give him a 4 because his deliveries were absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. Young Anderson did come on, and he was outstanding. Let's not take this away. He got stuck in and looked like he was sort of a first-team regular. Nothing seemed to faze him. He looked good on the ball. He put himself about. And he wasn't frightened to try different things, which is what I was really impressed with young Anderson. And I think he should actually be pushing for a start against Sheffield United. Why not? The guy is ready, so why not throw him in? Give him an opportunity. Because he could cause Sheffield United a lot of problems. Drop Joelinton and put young Anderson in. And I know for a fact we will have a different team ethic because we won't be playing with 10 men. Give him a shot. He's ready. But, you know, this is Steve Bruce. He's not really the kind of guy who gives people the shot, is he? Youngsters and things like that. The manager out of 10, I'm going to give a 6. Middle of the road. You know, I couldn't really complain with his substitutions. Even though Emil Kraft did. I don't understand why he looked so upset coming off. He looked shocked that he was coming off, but he was getting ripped a new backside every time Kieran Tierney got the ball. But unfortunately, you know, it's one of those games that there was a lot of positives from, but again, we don't get anything out of the game, which is typical Newcastle United, really. But hey-ho, it's one of those things. I'm not sitting here going Raj tonight. I'm not upset, angry. I'm disappointed and gutted we didn't go through, but I'm not sitting here screaming my head off like some of the past videos that I've had to do, because the lads don't deserve that kind of video. The lads deserve a lot of positives from tonight. Work rate, you just cannot fault them. And the second half, the way we pressed, we should have won the game. And it's not very often that I can sit here and do a video and say that Newcastle should have won a game, but they should have won that in the second half. We didn't. We move on to Sheffield United. It's a big game. Disappointed we're out the cup again, but you know, we've come to sort of learn how to deal with that in the last few years, haven't we, with the FA Cup? But never mind. I'm positive that if we go with a good attitude to Sheffield United on Tuesday, play the right players, play them in the right places as well, we could absolutely destroy Sheffield United. Because if we play like we did in the second half, the way Sheffield United have been playing, and defending especially, we've got an opportunity to score some goals. But it's all down to the manager. But we'll talk about that in my preview of the game. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the game. Disappointing we didn't get anything from it, but a lot of positives to come from it as well. If you are new to the channel, please do hit the subscription button. You know, I do check sort of my analytics on YouTube, and a lot of people who do watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So if you're back again and you like what you see, do hit the subscribe button. I am almost at 500, and then it's the next step up to 1,000. So thank you very much to everybody that has subscribed and is helping me build the channel. There's a lot of different fans on here now, not just Newcastle. I was on an Arsenal show last night, which was brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to do a lot more live streaming. We've got the Four Horsemen of Newcastle at 8 o'clock on Monday night as well. So do keep an eye on Twitter for that, and I'll pop the link up on the social medias for that one as well, with me, Sharky, Peely Proudluck, and John Sinclair, which should be a good show discussing what's happened tonight and obviously the big game on Tuesday. But if you've liked the video, do smash the like button. That does help me build the channel a lot. Do put your comments below. I answer every comment that I can. It's good to get your reactions and your opinions. Keep them decent, you know. Let's not fall out over anything. If you've got a different opinion to me, that is fine. Just leave a comment. We have a conversation about it like grown adults, instead of all this bitching on social media which goes on, which is mental. But in the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow, probably doing my Sheffield United preview video. Enjoy your Saturday evening. By the time you watch this, it's probably bedtime anyway, but I'll get it up as soon as I can. And I'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, take care. Be strong. Be strong.